Hello, everyone.
Hi, Scotty.
Hi, Scotty.
Hi, we'll get started here in just a second. All right, we've got people popping in and out throughout. Hey, Daryl, thanks for turning your camera on.
Hi, Scotty.
All right, we're going to start at the top of the list and move down, and hopefully we'll be able to get to everybody tonight. I appreciate everybody popping in. If I go too fast for your answer, I always record this and post it to my website, usually by the next day, so that's under the previous town halls link. If you have a question, I'll get to you in just a second. Daryl, what have you got?
Scotty, yesterday I saw a security update on a MacBook Air. Is there something good?
Not that I know of. I'm not familiar with the security update. Have you seen any details on anything curious? I haven't seen anything come through my way.
No, it only came through on the MacBook Air. It didn't come through on anything else.
Yeah, that's not abnormal for something like that. But no, I'm sure a quick Google search would come up with whatever reason, and oftentimes they'll tell you what the reason is in the brief general discussion, or the paragraph. But I don't know of anything crucial on it.
Okay.
Dave, what have you got? Dave Mafucci, how can I help you this
Yeah,
evening?
just a couple. I had several questions. Let me just start off. Is it appropriate to ask a question about Excel and PDF files?
If I can answer it, sure. Yeah. If somebody else has the answer too. So shoot away. Let's see what we got.
I just tried to save a workbook as a PDF file, and when I save it as a PDF file, instead of saving the workbook, it saves each individual worksheet
Yeah.
in the workbook. It comes up as 3 different separate PDF files.
Yeah. I can show you how to combine those PDF files into one. I don't know right off the top of my head how Excel might export all of those PDFs into one PDF on its own. I'm assuming that it might not be smart enough to do that. Anybody in the conference tonight know offhand if Excel, working with multiple Excel sheets at one time within a workbook, will export as one PDF? All right, Dave, so here's what I would suggest you do. When you have multiple PDF files, there is the ability to merge those PDF files into one PDF after they land on let's say your desktop. Would you like me to show you how to do that?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to go grab a PDF file real quick. I'll use my trusty keyboard commands PDF file that I often use. Let me see if I can pull this up here. For those of you who are interested in key commands, I have a common list of key commands in my answers website. So here it is. Now I'm going to do a command click or a right click and try to save this thing. So I just want to grab a PDF file real quick. Give me a second here. All right. So here's a PDF file I've got on my desktop, and I'm going to create another one. And here's another one, and here's another one. All right, so I've got several PDF files right now. And what I want to do is combine those PDFs into one PDF file so that I don't have to send multiple PDFs. So what I want to do is open one of those, and I use Preview. I like Preview a lot. Preview, in my opinion, is much faster to use than Adobe Acrobat. I don't want to give you my car insurance information, so let me make sure I got the right PDF file here. Be patient with me here. Let's see. Downloads. Give me a second, guys. Okay, all right, this will work.
I guess folks, looks like Joanne's in the dark.
In the dark.
Hi, Joanne. Is that better?
And okay. Well, gosh. Give me a second, guys. I'm trying to find just a simple PDF file that'll work for me here. And this computer I don't use for much more than just this. Let's see if this will work. Well, all the PDF files I've got are gigantic PDF files. Give me a second to go find another one. I apologize. Where is...
Hi, Joan. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Daryl.
Okay, maybe I'll
Hi,
get
Daryl.
close enough.
Hope you had a nice anniversary.
We did, you.
I'll be with you guys in just a
You
second.
should have gone with us.
Okay.
Maybe next year.
Maybe.
File and come on. And save. Right to the desktop. Wow, a lot of anticipation just for this answer here. Okay. All right, finally. I've got a PDF file here, and I'm going to make a couple copies of that same PDF file so that I can sort of just duplicate that. Okay, so what I've got to do, Dave, is open up one of them in, and I like to use Preview, like I said. So once I've done that in Preview, now the next thing I need to do in Preview is show the column view over here. So let's see, where is my column view? Where is it? There we go. Okay. Now see what I've done here, Dave? I went over to the top left-hand corner, and I've got one of the PDFs open right now, preferably the top one. And I went to the top left-hand corner and I selected, I want to see thumbnails. In other words, I want to see the icons on the side, like a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet, or not a spreadsheet, like a Keynote or a PowerPoint presentation where I've got them across the side.
Right.
Now I take the next one, or the next 2, 3, or 4 of them, either way, and I grab those and I'm going to pull them, and when I do, I'm going to drop them on top of the other. And when I do that, it adds them all into that list. So now I have one PDF file with 4 pages. Now I need to save that PDF file. So I'm going to save that as whatever, new, and now if you can look closely, it's kind of hard to see it, but if you look on my desktop, this PDF file has a little binder icon next to it. Can you see that? Or binder, it's like a black strip. That gives me
Right.
the impression that it's multiple pages versus this PDF file that is blank and only one page. So if you see these other PDF files that I have, these other PDF files are multiple page PDF files. These are individual ones. So I'm just going to run through this one more time so you can kind of see it. All right? So just do it one more time. So I double click on the top PDF, or the first one that I want. That opens up in Preview. Then I need to look in the top left-hand corner so I can show the thumbnail view. So I'm going to go top left-hand corner, thumbnails. Now I've got multiple, I've got the area over here on the side. I'm going to grab the rest of these PDF files that maybe you scanned in, or maybe you exported from Excel in this case, and I'm going to pull those, and this is the really important part. Drop them on top of the icon. Now, I don't know if you can notice, but it wants to get out of the way if I move it. I don't want it to get out of the way. I want to put it right on top of that, like a stack, and that's the trick. Then you save that, and now when you save it, file, save, I'm back in Finder. Then the icon of the PDF file has a binder on the right left-hand side. Okay, Dave?
Yep.
All right. Took the
Thank
long way
you.
around, but we got there. Let's see. I'm going to go to Elsa. Elsa, what can I do for you this evening? Elsa, you hear us? You with us? You with us, Elsa? All right. Elsa, I'm going to jump over you, and I'll come back to you after I've kind of come around. Maybe you're stepped away. Joan, what have you got?
Believe it or not, nothing. I had a Kindle question that I was able to solve on Google.
Great.
That's it.
I don't know
I'm
if I
just
could have.
listening.
Excellent. I'm not sure I could have answered a Kindle question.
Well, I wouldn't have asked you because it's not,
Well, good.
whatever.
Well, let's move on up. Joanne, how are you this evening? What can I do for you?
How do I unmark a VIP in email?
You want to kind of kick someone out of your VIP list is I think what you want to do. That's a good question. Let's see something here. By the way, I sailed for about 7 hours the other night, and I was actually anchored right near your home recently over there. So
You should have called me.
So let's see. Now, I've got an email here that I want to first. Let's talk about what VIPs are for other people, and then we'll see if we can back out of it. So here's an email from this guy, Pat44@yahoo.com. He's part of my Sailboat group, and I want his emails to always go into my VIP email list first. So if I hover over him, I get that star, and I'm only going to see that star if I hover over him. So now I'm going to click him, and now he is a VIP along with my mother. So him and this guy are the two people who email me, and they go, copies of those emails go into the VIP list. But now I've fallen out of favor with Pat, and I don't want him anymore. Let's see if we can hover over him and click that, and now I've unlisted him yet again. So that's really that simple. If I go into my VIP... Excuse me?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I was going to say I've got some emails from my mom here. And let's see, I'm trying to find something here. I'll click on one from my mom. You guys can see what my mom wrote to me. But now I don't want to talk to my mom anymore about this. So I'm going to hover over the star. And if I click her, now she is no longer a VIP. That's it. So you just have to first click the star to make someone a VIP. Unclick the star to remove them from your VIP list. My mom is my only VIP. All right, Joanne?
Okay, thank you.
Let's go to Lori. Lori, what have you got this evening? Oh, I see.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, and I see you just wrote me a little note here. Why am I getting a notice that iCloud has charged me $20 for a storage plan? Yes, that is absolutely terrible. And you are one of the many people who have...
Every month.
Yes. Well, maybe not every month. They have, I think it's $55 for a year or something like that. But let's look at it. There are two places, and this applies to everybody. As a matter of fact, the client that I just left about an hour ago, I answered this exact same question. So this is very common. There are two places that you can store data on a phone, or the two places that we need to be concerned about with storing data. First is the actual hard drive itself, or the flash drive itself on the phone. I have a 16 gig iPhone. Daryl might have a 64 gig iPhone. That means that he can store more music, more pictures, more video on his phone. But Daryl and I both just bought our phones 2 or 3 days ago, let's say, so Apple has given us iCloud storage space up in the internet. That is their second type of storage. So the two types of storage, the local storage on your phone, depending on what size you have, and then the iCloud storage. Now, when Daryl bought his phone and I bought my phone, we signed up for iCloud accounts, and we have 5 gigs of space that Apple has given us. But Apple sets this up for failure right off the bat. If I have a 16 gig iPhone and I have packed this thing full of 16 gigs worth of material, and then I go into, and everybody can follow along with my phone, if I go into settings, and then I go down to iCloud, and I scroll all the way to the bottom, and I see storage and backup. Now, if I go into storage and backup, and I turn my iCloud backup on, now I'm trying to back up 16 gigs of data into 5 gigs of space. And the math just doesn't work on that. So they're setting you up for failure really right off the bat. Now, why there's some things they don't back up on the phone. It is extremely easy for everybody to overgrow their storage on the internet if they have backup turned on their phone. Now, I'm going to go back a level, and you'll see that my backup is off. I am not backing up my phone. I might plug it up to iTunes every once in a while and let iTunes back it up. But the next question I usually get is, well, Scotty, you tell me I've got to back up. Yes, you should be backing your computer up. But in general, it's a lot less important for you to back your phone up. Now, what's happened, maybe to you, Lori, and definitely to other people, is that you've turned on iCloud backup with your phone. Your backup has filled up your 5 gigs of storage space, and then Apple sent you a scary email saying your storage is full, but you could pay us more money, and we will increase that number from 5 gigs to 20 gigs or whatever like that, and then we'll charge more. See the big buy more storage? So that's probably what you're doing. What do you think, Lori?
I don't know what I'm doing. I can't even find that page.
Okay, I'll walk you back through. I'm going to go back out and show you what...
I'm there. I found it.
Okay.
I found it.
All right, so
I
for
got it.
anybody else, it's under iCloud at the bottom, storage and backup. If anybody that's listening has iCloud storage on and they want to save money, maybe you are charging, or maybe you're being charged, you could always turn that off. And if you turn that off, if you did it within 40, if you turn it off, I believe, and don't hold me to this, but I believe that if you turn it off within 45 days of having activated it, they may refund you. If not, then you just have to wait the year until they charge you again. But Lori, I do not think they're charging you $20 a month. I think
So it says, I said storage 15 gigabytes available, 3.3. Now what do I do?
okay, so you bought more space. So you need to, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, get a second opinion, but in my opinion, you need to get off of the Apple pay them more money plan for iCloud storage, and I'll tell you another reason why in a second. So if you go to change your plan, if you go to buy more storage, and you see that right now mine is set at 5 gigs for the free plan, you might be set at something lower. And see, I told you there's that $20 a year or $40 a year. I just go back to the free, and it says, okay, well then the next time your billing cycle comes up, you won't be billed. Now, people say, why shouldn't I back my phone up? Because for the most part, there's nothing on your phone that's not somewhere else. Your contacts are in your computer and in iCloud, whether that button is turned on or not. Your calendars are the same way. Whether that button is turned on or not, your calendars are backed up to iCloud and on your computer and other devices and in Time Machine if you're running Time Machine, which is your backup software for your computer. Your pictures, if you have PhotoStream turned on, your pictures are laying in your iPhoto library anyway, and you don't have to back those things up. They're just transferring through PhotoStream. The apps that you buy, you didn't buy the app. You didn't buy that piece of software. You bought permission to download that piece of software for the rest of your life. So you don't have to save Angry Birds. You have permission, and Apple knows that you bought Angry Birds, so you can download it. The only time that you might want to run home and plug this thing up or transfer things is when you go to the soccer game of your kids and you shoot some video. Or you go out on the lake and you shoot some video. That video, at this point, as of April 2014, that video is not transferring through iCloud. So that means it's not landing in iPhoto on its own. So that means you need to go home and plug it up or use your Wi-Fi syncing for those of you who know how to do that. Plug it up, and then inside iPhoto will pull copies of that video off. But other than that, there's really nothing on your phone that if you dropped it in the lake like I did several years ago, you're not gonna lose anything, really. Okay?
Okay.
So Lori,
Thank you.
I've made my case to get off of the Apple extra payment there. Marty, what can I do for you this evening?
Katie says hi.
I know a lot of
And
Katies.
if I let her...
Is this
if
a?
I let...
Oh, okay, this is not an ex-girlfriend or anything, right? That this is like
No,
somebody you.
it's Katie, my daughter. And
Okay.
if I let her go on this computer, can I go on my pad and still see you all and do this? Or have you only downloaded your town hall on my computer?
No, you can join through an iPad. There might be a couple people that are on iPads right now. You can join through your iPad. Just use the GoToMeeting app. But if you click on the link on the website, it will launch you to GoToMeeting, I believe. Just download the GoToMeeting app, and you can join in.
Okay.
All right. Did
All right, I'll be
Katie?
back.
Did Katie need to jump in and have a question then?
Katie, do you have a question? No, she just she just says hi.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Thank
hello
you.
to her. Natsuko, do you have a question for us this evening? She does not. I'm going to go back to the top of the list. I've got a couple people that joined in. I'm going to go to Alan next. Alan, what have you got this evening?
Actually, a couple to do the first one. I'll wait my turn. First of all, that parenting article is absolutely terrific. I just went to a lecture at our school, and you said it much better than they did in an hour meeting. I forwarded it to the person who ran the presentation. But to my question, on my wife's computer, we have an admin, myself, and Marcia. Somehow, my kids are still getting on the computer and playing Minecraft, and we don't want them to do it. How do I lock out? I know you did this a couple weeks ago. Make sure they cannot get on the computer without us signing on with a password.
Okay, that's a great question. Most likely, Alan, this is not a judgment against you and your parenting skills, but as I mentioned in that parenting newsletter, most likely, my first guess would be that your kids know the password. They know your admin password to kind of get by that. Let me take a step back for a second before I get to the question's answer. Alan mentioned there's a parenting
Is the
newsletter.
admin password lock out at all?
No, it locks out of your user. But your user being the admin user is really the user that controls the time limits on the kid's user. So if if I'm your child and I'm in your house and I'm using my user and my time limit is coming up, maybe you've got time limits set so they can only use it for an hour or they can only use it for 3 hours, the computer that is. Then it comes up with about 10 minutes left. It'll say, hey, in 10 minutes, you can't use your user anymore. But if you would like to extend your time, if you put in Alan, the user, the administrator, your dad's full name, and his password, we'll give you more time. Or they log out of their user, and they log into your user. If they know your password for your computer, and I'm not talking about iTunes purchases or anything like that, I'm talking about your user password, then they can work around that by just going in and being the boss. There are really 3 types of users on the computer, but we'll talk about 2. The admin user and the managed user or the standard user. The admin user has the right to do anything they want to do. You can't put parental controls on an adult user, an admin user. But you have children and you have managed users. And those managed users might have parental controls such as the amount of time that they're allowed to be on, the type of websites that they go to. But if that child knows your admin password, they can easily work around that. So the moral of the story here is that your password needs to be strong. Now, I happen to think I know your password unless you've changed it, and I'm pretty sure that your kids probably know that too. Right? Starts with a B?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But can you put a password that will not let them get on the computer at all?
Yes, you can. And I'll show you that right now. Let me kind of go back real quick.
That's the main thing I want.
Got it. Okay. So first of all, I did write a very, very long parenting newsletter recently that I did not send out because it's a little harsh and some people might be offended. But if any of you are parents out there and you want to read it, go to my website at the newsletter section and click on Parenting in Today's Tech. And like I said, it's extremely long and very involved, and maybe you'll get a couple of things out of it, or I could just be completely wrong as well. But Alan, to answer your question now, go to System Preferences. And what you're going to do, as a parent, you have to give up on some stuff. And one of the things you have to give up on is convenience. So if we're going into System Preferences, you're going to go to Users and Groups. First of all, and you want to see, okay, am I the admin and are my children managed users? All right, so here I've got an admin, and I know I'm the admin because it says admin there. My name just happens to be Mr. Admin in this case. But here's Test, and Test should be my child. Now, if I have a child named Test and they are an admin, then they're my equal. They're not my child, they're my equal. So I need to fix that first. So I'm going to go and unlock that. And once I've unlocked it, let me see if I can do this quick. I think no, that might not be the right password. There we go. Okay, now I need to take away admin rights from this child. So I select it and I say, no longer are you allowed to be an administrator. Sorry, Charlie, you don't get to be that. Now that they are a standard or a managed user, and if I wanted to go to a managed user, I could open up parental controls. I won't go into that rat hole right now, but yes, you can set up certain parental controls. Now, what I need to do is make sure that I give up the convenience of walking away from my computer and it stays open. So I need to go to Security and Privacy. And in Security and Privacy, there's a couple of things I need to do. I need to say to the computer, how quickly are you going to ask for a password? So under the General in Security and Privacy, if I walk away from my computer right now, 5 minutes from now, it's going to lock my user. The only thing that can happen would be if they get over to their user. Now, that's when you then lock out the amount of time within parental controls that they have. So I could lock my user, but then I also need to I need to think about how long before my screen is actually locked. So here we're going to go back into Show All. I'm going to go back into Energy Saver, which is a system preference, and I want to see how long is my computer going to go before it goes to sleep. That's something to consider. And there is one more area, and that is in Desktop and Screensaver. In the Desktop and Screensaver, look at this and say, well, how long before my computer goes into Screensaver? Now, this is going to make sense in just a second. So here's my Screensaver, and I'm going to start my Screensaver after 20 minutes. Whoever's got music, maybe you could turn that down for us. So you start after 20 minutes. So here's our oh, I think somebody's practicing piano in the background. which is awesome.
Scotty, it's Glenn.
Okay.
Glenn's doing it.
Okay, thank you, Daryl. I appreciate it. Glenn, if you could maybe close the door to the person practicing piano in the back. But Alan, to finish answering the question, if your screensaver doesn't start for 20 minutes, then the timer that I found in the security preferences will not start for 20 minutes. So here's my, going back to security preferences. So in my scenario, my computer is open for 20 minutes, the screensaver comes on, and then it counts 5 more minutes before the actual user is locked out. Okay?
Okay.
Now, if you want to be super duper secure about it, then there is one more thing I'm going to point you to. Because you might say, well, that's just giving them, that's not giving them access to my user, but then they could still log into their user. That is unless you go into users and groups, and under login options, you have, first of all, you want to make sure that login items are turned off, or automatic login is turned off. Otherwise, the kids can just restart the computer and log back in as you. So you'll make sure that you're not automatically logging in if you have children you want to keep away from. And then you say, you know what? Instead of giving us a list of usernames, just say, hey, look, just give me a list of names and passwords. That makes things a little bit more complicated, but Alan, what you want to do is click that, play around with it, see how that feels, and if you don't like how that looks and feels, then go back to your other user. Lastly, before I move on, Alan, you need to be very familiar with the parental controls, and that's in, obviously, the parental controls. So in parental controls, you go into system preferences, and you would set, I only want my child to be able to get to their user between the hours of 6 a.m. and 8 p.m., that kind of thing. Okay? All right, I'm going to move on. I've got Don or Donnie. Don or Donnie, are you with us this evening, Don?
Can you hear me?
I certainly can.
Okay. Well, my name is Don. It's spelled D-O-N-N-E. I'm Don Dinkel. I met you one time. You actually came to my house.
All right. Well, it's good to hear you again. What can I do for you this evening?
Well, I mainly just logged in to see what this was about. But the questions I have currently are coming up that I need answers to. One of them is about monitors.
Monitoring in.
I have a
Okay.
I have a iMac 27, and currently I am using 2 older Dell monitors with it. Now, they are a little bit smaller. They're 24, and of course the iMac's 27. Eventually, I would like to have something at least as high in resolution as the iMac, and I would like for it to be either 27 or even 28 inches. Now, the current Mac display, unfortunately, will not in sleep mode. In other words, if you have the monitors on, if you buy 2 of their monitors and hook them up, then when you put it in sleep mode, they don't sleep. And this was confirmed to me by the Apple Store, and they actually had things that said this was the truth.
Well, then I'll believe that.
Okay. Now, what my question is going to be, a lot of changes in monitors coming down the road. We've got, the new resolutions and such.
Yeah, these 4Ks, right?
And, right. So basically what I'm wondering is if there is going to be a way to run 2 of the new higher resolution monitors instead of the current, monitors. And that would, I guess, depend on the video card.
Yes.
That I.
Now, you are keeping the conversation related to iMacs, is that right?
Yeah, I've got an iMac, and I want to add 2 extra monitors to it.
Okay. So let's just take a step back and talk about the number of monitors real quick. And this is a little detailed question, but it's a relevant one. I don't know if you guys saw just a second ago, I turned my camera on just now, and can you guys sort of see the video on my iPhone there? Maybe you can,
Yes.
but what I want to do is back up and show you my setup that I'm using right now. So I've got an iMac, and then I've got a second monitor here. So I'm doing exactly what Don's talking about. I've got a second monitor connected to my iMac, and then over here I've got some others. I've got a laptop, and I'm doing the same thing. So I've got another monitor right there. So there's a laptop with a second monitor, and then I've got an iMac with a second monitor, if you can kind of see that. Was that video clear enough for people to kind of see it a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, the reason, Don, that I don't have one iMac pushing all the displays is because out of the box, the iMac is only supported to push one display. Now, notice the terminology that I said, out of the box. You can get third-party graphics cards that are embedded as a flash drive or a USB dongle that will be a graphics card that will push that third display. Because remember, the iMac's already pushing its own display, and then you're asking it through Thunderbolt or through Mini DisplayPort, if you've got an older Mac, to push a second display. So, Don, your performance is going to drop fairly tremendously, in my experience, on that third display, because whatever graphics cards you buy on a flash drive, or see, you got to plug the third monitor up somehow, and you only have. Do you have Thunderbolt iMacs? Do you have a Thunderbolt
Yes.
iMac?
Yes.
Okay, well, then the Thunderbolt might support multiple monitors. But every monitor that you plug up is going to reduce the quality of performance quite a bit. So I'm kind of, the first part of my answer was more if you only had Mini DisplayPort. But you've got Thunderbolt. So since you have Thunderbolt, you can connect those two, and then it comes down to the quality of the monitors. I'm not sure I've answered.
Well, yeah. The monitors I am using, like I say, they are, of course, they don't have the resolution that the iMac has. They are like, 6 or 7 years old.
Yeah.
But from what I can tell, it drives to their full potential.
Yeah.
They're not degraded at all.
Yeah,
They're
if
just
they're-
not as good.
Right, if they're older monitors, system preferences, displays, when you click displays, obviously you know this already, it gives you multiple areas, and here I'll pull this window over. These windows usually are laid out by each one of these, like you'll have one window, the window you're looking at on the right is the window for my right hand monitor, the window you're looking at on the left is for the built-in monitor. But one of the things that you can do, there are third-party pieces of software that will give you the ability to, how should I say it, add preferences into this area. So like right here, we have a pretty standard little thing. Okay, either it's best for display or I could go scaled. If I go scaled, notice here, Don, that I've only got a 12 by 10 choice. Well, I want some other choices. I want a higher or a lower resolution of choices. There is software, there are plugins out on the internet, you have to do a search for them, that will give you the ability to add in multiple profiles for that secondary monitor. Apple doesn't support doing it. Apple has dumbed this down quite a bit. But see over here on the iMac, I only have 4 choices. 3 years ago, I had probably 20 choices in that list, but Apple has taken some of those out.
Huh.
So what I'm saying is one of the things you might want to do is look at the little third-party software that will give you the ability to better control your video output. And remember, the higher the resolution going out, the lower performance you're going to get. So if you ran a 27-inch monitor over here and a 27-inch monitor over here, but you ran them at 800 by 600 and 800 by 600, they'd look like crap, but they would feel better when you're trying to do things. For me,
Right.
I just keep a crappy monitor to the right that I just open up for email, and that's it. So I have like one crappy monitor and then a really nice monitor. And so my email or my calendar is over on the crappy monitor. Or I might open up Netflix and throw Netflix over to that kind of thing. All right? I'm not sure if I answered your question well, but did my best. I'm going to go to Elsa. Elsa, are you with us yet? All right, we're going to jump over to Gary. Gary Y. How are you doing, Gary Y? What can I do for you? Gary Y, you around? All right, Gary, I'm going to jump over. Let's see, I think I got Glenn here. I'm not sure if I've talked to Glenn yet. Glenn, what have you got for me this evening? Glenn. I don't have Glenn. All right, I got Julie, maybe. Julie, are you with us tonight? Julie, what can I do for you?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I
Sonny?
can. Julie, go ahead.
Okay, I have a question. My husband just purchased a new MacBook Pro for me. Purchased the Apple Care as well. It's been a long time since I've had a new Mac laptop. And I'm wondering, should I buy the one-to-one?
Oh.
Is it worth it? It was, I know initially, but I'm not sure now.
Okay. All right. One-on-one, or is it 1-to-1? We're about to find out here. Hopefully they're smart enough at Apple to have bought.
One, two,
I don't know if they still have it or not, but it used to be great where you could go in and meet with.
Yes. Okay, so I have to be careful here. I'm going to try to say this as politely as possible and politically correct as possible because I do kind of live off of Apple. I think it is a great service. I think it's a fantastic service, and I'm really sincere about the one-on-one service. Now, with that being said, Apple also positions their one-to-one service for people that maybe just need their data transferred. And of course, they don't need to hire me or what. Maybe they don't want to hire me. They want to have the Apple Store do it, and that's fine. So oftentimes, if you take two computers in or you buy a new computer, back in the old days, you could say, hey, I want to leave my computers here and we'll transfer the data. Now, I believe, and I can't speak for them, but this is just my thought on it, and some of you who've had this experience lately might know better than me. I believe that they say, we can transfer your data if you get one-to-one. Now, that's an extra $100 at the cash register, which is great for them. And the large majority of people, Julie, they buy one-to-one, but they never use it. And Apple loves that because they just made $100, but they don't have to actually fulfill the obligation. Now let's talk about the obligation, which is fantastic on paper. You get 52 weeks or a class a month, so to speak, of going to the Apple Store and working one-on-one with one of the people. Now, Dave, did you and I used to work with each other on a Windows machine at the Apple Store? Dave Mafucci, I believe, didn't we used to?
No.
Okay, I'm thinking about somebody
I
else.
had a Windows machine, and I went to the Apple Store, and when I bought my MacBook Pro, they did the data transfer me.
Okay, all right.
And I think that's when one-to-one or one-on-one came up, but
Yeah.
I haven't used it since.
Okay, yeah, I didn't.
I've called you.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing, Julie. Of course, I'm here every Monday, so I try to provide this for free to hopefully answer some questions. But obviously, I make a living going to residences and businesses. But so you got that, and I'm not in competition with one-on-one at all. I'm not trying to talk my service over theirs because financially, it makes so much sense to get it if you like that help. It's $100, and you're going, and you can go in every week. Now, here's the only negative thing about it. There are people that work at the Apple Store that you might not, it might not be a good fit for you. Just like I'm not a good fit for some people. I've had clients that have gotten rid of me, or I've gotten rid of them. So you do have to consider that. So you have to take it with a grain of salt. That you might have a bad session one week, but then you have a great session the next 7 weeks in a row. The other thing that I just don't like about it is the fact that it's really loud or it's really busy and it's just this kind of a tense environment. Having worked at the Apple Store for about 2 years of my life, I can say that. But it is a great service to have. Now, here's the other thing, Julie. If I'm not mistaken, I do not think that you can buy it after the purchase of a computer. I think you had to make that decision right when the computer was bought that day. You have a year to add Apple Care, but I don't know if you have more than walking out of the store to make the decision to buy one-to-one. In other words, I don't think you could just walk in and buy it.
Okay. All right, that's too bad because that's how I found out about you. Actually, was during a one-to-one session that I used to take years ago. My husband bought it for me as a gift. Gave it to me yesterday and said, did you buy the one-to-one? And he said no, and I was like, bummer.
Well,
So, all right.
join me every
Well,
Monday.
well, I can. That's true.
Yeah, some of the regulars have got their cameras on. You certainly don't have to turn your camera on, but I'm here every most Mondays, and so you got me. All right, we're gonna jump. Let's see, to Nancy. Nancy, I don't think I've hit you yet. Nancy, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. I think we worked together last week, didn't we?
Yes.
Or a couple weeks ago.
And
Go ahead.
yeah, my backup is still, it keeps telling me that there's been no backup for 24 days, 26 days, ever since I plugged that new external hard drive in.
Okay.
And last week you clicked around and fixed the settings or something, but every day it tells me there's been no backup.
Okay, Nancy, let me ask you a couple questions because it's been a lifetime since we talked to each other in my brain because I'm getting old. Do you have 2 backups?
No.
Okay, so you just have...
I mean, well, I mean, yes, I do. But this is a new one that you told me to buy, a terabyte.
Okay. So describe your 2 backups. Is one of the backups just a hard drive, like a small hard drive with a cable?
Both of them are.
Oh, okay. They're both just plug-in drives. And are they both plugged in currently?
No. The first one told me that it was full. And I know that you kept telling me you re-plug it in and it takes the oldest data off except the newest. But I bought a new one that should be empty or close to empty and plugged in. And it's, you know, it's supposed to turn green and it stayed yellow for a long time. And so then you change settings.
Okay.
And now it just keeps telling me that it's not backing up.
Okay, do you have, there's a couple things to think about. Do you have, what am I trying to say? Do you have data on either of those drives besides your backup? In other words, if you were to open...
No.
Yeah, so I'm going to, would it be safe for us to proceed with erasing the drive so that we can start the process over again?
Oh. Sure.
Okay, I'm going to ask the question. I'm going to ask exactly what I asked a couple of different ways to make sure that we're on the same page. Nancy, what I would like to do is erase one of those drives, maybe even both of them. Now, if you don't have any other data other than just backup data, then erasing it's no problem. But if you have a folder of pictures from 1973 on there, I don't want to erase it. So you've told me that you feel like there's no data on that drive that you necessarily would care to lose. Is that true?
Yes, the only thing on there is what is on my Mac right in front of me.
All right. So what I have found, one of the ways to try to solve this problem is just to start from scratch. Time Machine is great and I love it. I absolutely hate Time Capsule, but I love Time Machine. Time Machine, the software that writes onto the hard drive that you have externally. But with all the work that it does, sometimes it's not a bad idea just to start over again from scratch and just erase the Time Machine drive maybe once a year. And I've probably done this with 3 or 4 people that are in this meeting right now. So let's do that with yours, Nancy. Can I take control of your screen?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to send a message over to Nancy to see... All right, Nancy, what have you got? Terry, I just saw your name in that list. I'll get to you in a minute. And I've been so busy, Terry, I haven't answered that email from you, and I apologize. I'm going to get to Terry in a minute. So now we're looking at Nancy's screen, and let's see. I'm going to also ask Nancy if I can control your screen, so give me a second. Nancy, to request. Okay, you got a request for me to control your screen?
Yep. Yes.
Okay, I'm now controlling Nancy's screen, so we're going to go into... all right, let me control now, Nancy. So we're going to...
Oh, sorry.
That's fine. We're going to go into System Preferences, and I want to first look at Time Machine, and I just want to kind of snoop around in here and see what's going on. So she's got a list of drives here. She's got a 320 drive, and she's got a Seagate 1.5. She's got some big drives here. So let's go and reformat one of those. So I'm going to go up here to a program called Disk Utility. I'm going to do a search in her Spotlight for Disk Utility. And we should see these drives. If Nancy's telling the truth and they're both connected, then we should see them. Now, right now, Nancy's telling me that she's telling me the truth about one of them. The 1.5 terabyte is connected, but the second drive is not connected. All right?
Right.
Okay, so let's just do this one first. And Nancy, I'm going to do this one by myself, and then you can follow these directions and do the second one on your own. So
Okay.
I've opened up Disk Utility, and what I want to do is just erase it and start all over again. Now, even though I believe you, I don't believe you, so I'm going to actually go open up your hard drive before I erase it, just to make sure, good, I don't see any other folders in here except for the backups.backupdb folder. And that folder contains a history of your hard drive, and there's your history. It started last month, and it's gone and gone and gone and gone and gone up until actually today. This backup,
Right.
Nancy's healthy. This one's healthy. Would you agree or
And
disagree?
that's the one. Yeah, no, I mean, I see what you're seeing, but do you see how it's yellow over there? Where you, I mean,
I see a green Seagate backup icon. That I'm trying to see which one you're looking at. Let me close all your windows here. And for anybody else that we're going to take control of your computer, try to close your personal data so none of us see when your next hair appointment
yeah,
is.
sorry about that.
So let's just get all, or I might just minimize that. And you can come back to those things. We don't see anything. We're doing it behind the scenes here. Okay.
I don't care.
Let's see. Okay.
It just keeps popping up a message to me every day saying no backup, no backup. So I don't know.
All right. Well, this one just backed up the latest changes, which is great.
Okay.
This one, you know what it might be? Look at this, March 11th. This is the one that we need to be concerned about. The Seagate, you have 2 backups, Nancy, which is fantastic. I strongly encourage everybody to have 2 backups. One that they use all the time, plugged up, and one that they keep outside their house somewhere. So this backup, this Time Machine backup, looks like it was last connected March 11th. So it might be saying, hey, we haven't backed up to this second one in quite some time. This second backup, Nancy, where is it physically right now?
On my desk.
Okay, but not plugged up to the computer?
Correct.
Okay. So I would plug that up and let that cook, and let's see if Time Machine makes the relationship back again, and we can get it going.
All right.
All right.
Maybe that's what it's telling me.
I think that's what it's telling you. I'm going to let Nancy cook on that for a minute. I'm going to go to Terry that's down here at the bottom of my list at the moment. Terry, how are you? Terry,
I'm good, thank you.
Good, all right. With the patience of Job, Terry, what can I do for you this evening? I think you had a question coming up with your hard drive or space. Don't bring me a question about space on your hard drive, Terry. What do you got?
No, I just, I want to know, I think I actually had the email and the text was regarding, I came into Charlotte this past weekend, got home today, and I wanted to know if I could drop my computer off. So that I need to schedule with you, like
Okay.
not on this, but a long ago, every time I send an email, it would reply it to myself because I have email accounts.
Yes.
And you fixed that, and now they're suddenly doing it again.
Okay, I think, Terry, knowing some of the information, and you've got some privacy concerns, that if we take control of your screen and go digging through that email, that's not something we want to expose. So I probably
Right.
would hold off, and we do that maybe in person, I think. I remember this fix, and this is kind of a little bit of an involved fix. It might be more than what we want to get into tonight.
Okay.
To take
I have a friend that you said earlier, I heard you say she only had an iPhone. She doesn't have a Mac computer or anything like that. So they can also as well join
Oh yeah, absolutely, sure.
the
Yeah.
GoToMeeting. And how would she do that on her phone?
She could use the GoToMeeting app on the phone. So she might not on the phone. She might not see the video that some of us are looking at with our faces. But yeah, she can use GoToMeeting on the phone. I have actually, a couple of years ago, I hosted this meeting from my phone, a couple of years ago when I couldn't get home in time. But yeah, they can join in on the phone if they'd like. Sure.
Okay, good deal. Thank you.
I want to use Terry as an example here. Terry, I think she emailed me, she maybe even texted me to set up an appointment. Just go to the website. That's going to be always the faster thing to do. I do have a lot of people that will send me texts and things, and I get so much of that during sometimes my email just runs and runs and runs. As you can see here, I got 12,000 down here, and it's just I can't get to everything. So my first priority is to go with who has booked me, and Terry, you can even just book a drop off because Terry sometimes drops. She's far out from Charlotte. Okay, let's see. We're coming to a close here in a minute. Let me try to get a couple of people who I didn't have before. Carolyn, you just joined us. Carolyn, is there any questions? Say again, Carolyn. Oh, you know what? Carolyn muted herself. I'm going to unmute you, Carolyn. Now I just muted her. Carolyn, you were unmuted. I mean, you were muted. There. Okay, now we should be able to hear you, Carolyn. Go ahead.
I'm just listening in. I'm back.
All right, you're joining. Yeah, you joined in. Carolyn and I actually worked together earlier today. Was that today, Carolyn?
Yes.
All right, I've lost my mind. I had a very busy day today. Okay, let's see. Elsa, were we able to pick you up, Elsa? All right, and I think I might have jumped over Glenn as well. I don't know if Glenn had a chance. Glenn, are you still with us? All right, then we're going to be closing this out pretty soon. We've got Emma Day. Oh, don't worry. I'm saving Emma Day for the grand finale.
I'm gonna listen right now. I'm gonna have to go back and see the whole thing.
I was setting you up, Emma Day, for the grand finale, actually.
Oh, you were? Yeah, you like to do.
Yeah, I always give you a big intro.
Get me in trouble.
And ladies and gentlemen, from parts unknown, Emma Day.
Help me.
Emma Day.
I missed your calling.
Yeah. Do you
you
have a question? Well, before I get your question, Emma Day.
I've got so many since I can't even find a place to start.
Well,
I think I better wait and listen to the whole thing.
Okay, well, as you know, I go fast. Now, here's one thing, Emma Day. While I was working on this, and I know that Emma Day is a very loyal town hall viewer and listener, and she goes back and listens to a lot of them, and I really appreciate that. But Emma Day, while we're in the middle of this town hall, I did have an issue with my recording software that popped up on me a second ago, so this may not be recording. I'll know later tonight when I kind of dig in there. Yeah, but so hopefully I'll get it posted.
Okay.
Hey, by the way,
that would be very
mad props to Joan. 2 weeks ago, I had 17 people in the town hall.
Oh my goodness.
Today, I have about 13 at the moment, and it kind of comes and goes. People go in and out. Last week, 1, and it was Joan. So
I tried again.
Sure, yeah.
There.
Yeah, sure you did, Emma Day. I believe it.
I couldn't get it in. You didn't answer.
Hey, Joan, was I there? Was I here, Joan?
You were there. You were there.
I tried. I couldn't get him.
I was here with bells on. I skipped over a couple people. Let me see.
You wouldn't let me in.
Alan, I think you said that you had a couple of other questions. You want to try to hit one more?
Okay, Scotty, just one quick question. For some reason, about 2 weeks ago, I turned my computer on. It takes maybe 10 seconds for the little password block to come up. Push the password in, the bouncing ball for about another 10 seconds. What would be the cause of that slowdown? I looked at my startup menu. I don't have a whole lot of softwares in there.
Okay.
Any suggestions?
Well, this is a very big question, and I'll give you as short an answer as I can. What could cause the spinning ball?
Okay.
All right, we all have the spinning ball. And it's kind of like saying what can cause the common cold, I suppose. Now, if you look up at the top of my menu bar, you will see that right now I'm at 85% capacity on both of my processors. In other words, I'm running GoToMeeting, I'm running recording software, I've got Safari open, I'm running a bunch of stuff, and my iPhone emulator. I've got a lot of stuff, and I've got my email open and all that. So my computer's working hard. But I can see that it's working hard because I've taken a little program called Menu Meters that you may... Alan, are you familiar with Menu Meters?
No.
Okay. I do know enough about Alan to know that he's really interested in sort of off-the-beaten-path stuff, just like Daryl is, off-the-beaten-path types of things that are not really common. But Menu Meters, I love. And Menu Meters gives us an idea, Alan, of kind of what are these things going on in the background. So if you notice here, in system purposes...
It's mini, M-I-N-I, meters?
Look at the system purposes here. I've got it written menu, like I'm going to order from a restaurant. Menu Meters. And Menu Meters is wonderful for two things. It gives me, A, an idea of what is going on with my processor. How fast is my processor running right now? And B, how much RAM do I have open? So those are kind of the two major questions that then come to you. So if you install Menu Meters, and it's free, just Google search for Menu Meters and download it and install it. You'll go into the preferences, and you can kind of go in and check these things around. One thing that I do point out, notice that I have it display percentage as a total. If you have a quad-core processor, Alan, and you probably do with a newer computer, you have 4 processors. So that means that you're going to have a chart for 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's going to take up a lot of the top. So you might just say, look, don't just average it all together. So you can play around with those settings. But those give you a little window into what's going on in your computer. And really all that's doing, Alan, is it's extracting information from Activity Monitor. When I sit down at somebody's computer, I've probably done it 3 times already today. When I want to know why is this computer going slowly, the first thing I do is I go up to the Spotlight search. I type in Activity Monitor. I'm giving away my tricks of the trade here for everybody. This is how I make my living, is in this program right here that Apple has written. So this is going to list all the things that are running. And right now, GoToMeeting is taking 63% of my software, my processor, along with my ScreenFlow, that's my recording software that I use, is taking 40%. So I'm already at least 100% capacity of one of my processors. For every processor, Alan, you have 100%. So if you have 4 processors, you have the ability to run at 400% capacity. So these are all the things that are running in the background. If I sit down at my computer and I don't have Menu-Meters installed, like most of us don't, and I'm just getting that spinning ball constantly and constantly, could be a bad hard drive. But if it's not a bad hard drive, then probably there is something that's running on your computer nonstop, going crazy. It's like, I equate it to having the windows open, but you're trying to heat your house. You're going to have to keep heating and keep heating and keep heating your house, but you're defeating the purpose. So by having the windows open. So what you have to do is go in Activity Monitor, select CPU, organize by CPU thread up here. And one more thing, and I'm going really fast on this, Alan, and this is a little geeky for us, but you make sure that you're viewing all processes. Under the word view, you could just say, I just want to see my processes. I just want to see the things that are running that I own. Because the computer's running things and you're running things. But together, under view, all processes, now I see what all's going on. And if you see something in here that looks very suspicious, that's at like 170%. I saw one today that was running at 170%. It was a task that was going. You got to figure out what's going on with that. Now, you don't want to just kill these things. Like this says Core Audio, and it's at 5%. If I clicked on Core Audio and I say I want to kill it, and I go up to the stop sign and I kill that, then you're going to stop hearing me right now. So there are certain things that you don't want to just trash. But with your resources, your brain power, you do some searching. You go through my website to see if I've answered the question. You Google search it. Generally, there's somebody out there that's going to be able to give you an idea as to what sysmond means and whether or not you should throw it away or kill it.
If you hit that stop sign, have you eliminated it for good, or when you start the computer up again, will it come back?
Yes, it will come back. It doesn't eliminate it for good.
Okay.
It kills it in that
So you
section.
haven't.
Right.
Got it.
Sometimes the Adobe Preview or the Adobe Reader plugin in Safari will freeze up. Okay, well, you got to go in there and kill that, and then that takes care of it. Lastly, with memory allocation. So if you go to memory and you select by thread, right now GoToMeeting's taking 200 megs, but there's this kernel task. Okay, the kernel task on my computer is taking up almost 400 megs. Well, I happen to know that the kernel task is basically the actual computer running itself, the actual operating system. So I'm not going to mess with that. But if I do get something that's way out of place, and it's just like, here's mail web content. If that was crazy high, then I would need to do some research, and that would be the reason for the spinning ball. Most of the time...
It seems like if you use my processes, those are the things that you can control. You really couldn't self by stopping one of those.
Yes and no.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, for the most part, that's true. You're not going to really kill yourself on any of that. But if we glance around, I want to kind of look at these, put my eyes on it. Okay, com.apple.internet accounts. If you killed that, yeah, it's going to solve your problem temporarily. But you might not be getting any email. Your calendars might stop syncing. Things like that. So you have to tread lightly in there. And this is not for everybody. Emma Day, don't go digging in this area.
I'm just thinking, what are you talking about?
I know.
This is crazy talk.
I know. Hey, but for those of you listening, Emma Day has actually completely reinstalled her operating system on her own. So
About 100 times.
I was going to leave that part out.
Not on purpose.
Yes, I know.
Accidentally.
I was going to leave that part out. Okay, if I didn't get to you tonight, I apologize. If for any of you who have not filled out a survey, or a review, I would greatly appreciate it. If you want to pay me,
How do you do it?
if you want to pay me anything tonight, I'll show you how you do it. You go to my ratings over here on my website, and if you go to ratings and reviews, you over here at the side it says "Let Apple Know," and I would love if you click that and tell Apple if I did a good job for you or if I was able to answer your question tonight or not. That's the reviews are a huge thing to me, and I really appreciate if anybody does that. I appreciate the people who have done that. All right, I'm going to go have some dinner and get back to my family. I will see you guys again maybe next Monday. Thanks.
What was that word? Many meters? Many or menu?
Menu, like I'm going to go to a restaurant and order from a menu.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
We'll see you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.